Hey everybody, my name's Esther. I got diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's disease in February of this year. If you like my content, please like, follow, and share. So today I want to talk about something that has been bothering me for a long time, which is when you get diagnosed with Parkinson's, what happens? Um, I'm going to tell you my experience, and I'm going to talk about other people's experiences that I've learned about, and then I hope that people will stitch or make comments about their own. Because for me, it was kind of, at the time, I thought crazy that somebody my age with my symptoms would get that diagnosis. It didn't happen like I thought it would in my mind. Like, you go into the neurologist and they sit you down and they say you have, this is what's wrong with you. Because Parkinson's is a clinical diagnosis, and there's no specific test for it, they do what's called a clinical diagnosis, which is they're just literally like looking at you, they're listening to what you tell them about what's happening with you, and then they give you a series of neurological tests, things like the good old thingamajig and fall back, and they like catch you, and they'll like, I don't know, ragdoll you, puppet master you, all the different things that they do. And then you get that diagnosis. When I went and saw my first neurologist, she watched me while I was talking. Actually, because I was so nervous to be there, I was super tremory that day, like way more than would have been normal for me at that stage of my disease. And then that's all she did. She talked to me for a second. I kind of told her what I'd been going through, and then she asked me to walk, and I walked up and down a hallway, and I remember thinking, like, this is so awesome. Like, I can walk. I don't have any problems with my walk. And then I sat back down, and she basically said, have you thought about Parkinson's? And I jokingly responded, not if I can help it, but I'm bummed. But she said that's what she suspected it was. She did order a DAT scan, and she wanted to start me on the Parkinson's meds. And she said, if I start you on the Parkinson's meds and you feel better, we'll basically know that you have Parkinson's, which also intuitively felt unscientific to me, right? So I work as a healthcare administrator. I have a background in science. I have a master's degree in healthcare education, but I also did 2 years in a doctorate of pharmacy. And it just seemed so wrong that it was like not like anything I'd seen in healthcare, as far as like, this is the criteria, this is what we're looking for, ABC, and then we test, and then we get something back, and then we know if you have it or not. And so it seemed very wrong. And because of that, I just rejected it all out, I didn't show up for my DAT scan appointment. And honestly, before I even left the office that day, I asked them if I could use the restroom, and I went and I cried. And then I came back, and I know she must have seen that I've been crying, but like, it did not get discussed. And then I went home and I cried for like 3 days. And I remember my husband telling me, you can't keep crying in front of the kids, which was true. I mean, it sounds harsh, but I mean, realistically, you can't keep doing that. And so he found me another neurologist, and that neurologist did a very thorough neurological workup on me. But he said immediately, specifically, I did not look like Parkinson's. This did not look like Parkinson's. And then we went down the road of testing and things, to sort of rule out Parkinson's. When I got to the final destination with a movement disorder specialist who did diagnose me, he was really good about, telling me what to expect and what next steps were. But that initial neurologist visit, even though I don't think there was anything wrong with what that neurologist did, to kind of send me out the door, like with a tear-stained face, off to my life, waiting for, a follow-up visit in 3 months, also, I just think isn't great, especially if you're someone who maybe couldn't afford that test or had underlying mental issues. I mean, I could have just driven off into a ditch or something that day. And so I think if there's an area that I want to focus on more than anything, it's that initial encounter with a provider, and how we can make sure that everybody is supported with contacts, phone numbers, mental health referrals, networking, group support, whatever is available. And then for those of us that live in areas that we don't have a lot of access to things like that, you know, um, Zoom-based support groups and 1-800 numbers and all that kind of stuff. Me personally, I don't think I would have called anyone because I would literally rather die than like talk to somebody on the phone these days. But something more than what I did, which was just start DMing a bunch of you guys on TikTok, even though that ended up working for me. Um, so I did some training today to become an ambassador for the Parkinson Foundation, and they have a lot of great resources for stuff like that. I just don't know if everybody is aware of them and using them. So I hope that we can, come together as a community and advocate for more things like that to, again, do what I'm about, which is like standardizing processes, improving processes, and making sure that everybody finds out about their diagnosis in a way that they feel supported, not on the phone, not through the mail, not by somebody who has to see 15 other patients that day and is going to, basically trauma dump on you, but just be compassionate and kind and better about it. I don't think that's a lot to ask, and I think that's something very tangible that we can do for our disease. So hope this helps.